Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. I'm joined by Don Worthington, who is the branch manager for Primary Residential Mortgage. And I'm pretty excited to talk to you, my friend. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
It's the right time for you to be here. We're at the end of the year, and I know that a lot of people are thinking about what they're going to do with next year, and that almost always inevitably means that they're considering the idea of perhaps moving or buying something and moving into it. That presents an interesting issue because as we look at winter, people aren't exactly, you don't typically think of people exactly out shopping for homes. It's not something that's typically going on, is it?
No, typically, you know, when I talk to a lot of our friends, they're out and they like to wait till the spring and the summer and things like that to buy, but it's really a really interesting time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
In the winter months, you see some incredible values. If we look, you know, for example, I was looking at some numbers here specific to the Park City market. Right now, there's fewer homes on the market in Park City than there's been in several years.
Yeah.
And so with that,
so
you
the
have
prices are going up because
Exactly.
that's supply demand.
Supply demand, and usually the people that are listing their houses in the winter are people that are motivated to sell. They're looking forward to sell, but yet because of the lack of inventory on the market right now, they're able to get a fantastic price for their home right now.
So in other words, this is kind of, I like to think of this as sort of a, I don't know, almost like a shoulder season. It's good for everybody.
You're exactly right.
The price is up, which is nice.
Yep.
But because of the competitive nature of the lack of buyers, that means that price has to be a little more fluid.
Yes.
So this kind of brings into another part of it, which is sometimes, I think, the emotional part of buying and selling, isn't it? There's an element there.
There is. There's definitely an element. I mean, it's where we live. It's where we spend most of our time. I mean, memories are made in our homes.
Right.
I mean, we have fond memories. I'm sure you can think back and remember some of the fondness that you've had in your house. And so when it comes time to buy a house, you know, say somebody wants to get out of the renting world and wants to find a place where they can start to raise and grow a family. I mean, that's a big emotional decision.
Right.
Along with, if I'm getting ready to sell a house, I'm sure I've got, you know, some great memories of living in that house. And so it can be an emotional time, but when you step back and you know, use some logic right now, along with emotion, it's really important. When we step back and we look at it logically right now, if I'm considering the decision of buying or selling, if I'm a buyer, right now, interest rates with what's going on, as the economy improves, interest rates are going up. I don't need a crystal ball to tell you right now.
Everybody knows that.
I mean, with where rates have been, they're going to slowly increase. There's going to be some market volatility with regards to interest rates. So buyers right now, it's really important for them to take advantage of these historically low rates that are still fantastic right now because it gives them buying power. By waiting for about every $10,000 that a home value increases, somebody's mortgage payment goes up about $50 a month. So for somebody who, you know, wants to step in and say, well, should I wait till the summer when it's a little bit more convenient to go drive around and look at houses? Who wants to drive around in the snow, or who wants to, you know, have to put on a coat to go find something?
Add $350 to your mortgage payment, you'll think twice about that.
Exactly. You're just adding $100 to your mortgage payment by waiting.
Yeah.
So it's one of those times where we're starting to see more and more buyers that want to take advantage of the opportunity right now. And we're seeing that lack of homes. There's a lack of inventory on the market right now. And so it's kind of this interesting time in the market.
Absolutely. Let's talk about, and we don't have as many of them here in Park City probably. Most people are buying a second home here typically, which can be fraught with disasters as well. But for a first-time home buyer, this is an important thing too, to consider some of the basics, things that we don't often talk about. So let's talk about that just for a moment. What are some of the things that a first-time home buyer should be considering before they go after a home?
So when we look at first-time home buyers, the first thing I would say is your credit. It's going to play an important role.
Yeah.
So one, there's lots. For example, for us, we love to get people before they even go out and start looking at homes to sit down and find out, how does my credit look like? What can I afford? What am I comfortable paying every single month? Okay. So one, I would say the credit's the really most important things. The two other things that really come into play are down payment and really what am I comfortable at with my monthly payment. There's several programs out there available right now, specifically here in the state of Utah and Park City, where there's grant programs or there's programs with little to no money down. So, so a lot of people think, well, I would love to buy a home, but I don't have this gigantic down payment I can put down. And so for first-time home buyers, you know, reach out to us. There's a lot of programs that people aren't aware of where we can work with down payment, a reduced down payment if they don't have it saved up.
Right. They end up, with small things. They may end up with a little PMI or something like that to make up that difference, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's talk about the people who are probably going to be buying here in Park City. A lot of times, this is a second home. Mm-hmm. There are some considerations there as well. What are some of those?
There are some of the considerations with second homes is really comes into being able to document the income. With 2 homes, you've got to be able to support on paper that you can handle both mortgage payments. And really, other than that, you got to have about 20% down on typically a second home. But if we look at Park City and the market specifically, there's never been a better time here. We've seen appreciation for 3 straight years. And a big telling stat when I look at Park City is short sales or bank-owned homes only represent about 2% of the Park City market.
They're next to impossible to find. Let's just be honest. People are killing themselves to find them.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. And what does that mean? People are always worried about, well, did I buy at the bottom? We've seen the nose is already up on the runway.
Right.
The things have already coming back up. So the longer that people wait, it's an incredible time for a great opportunity that as the economy improves, more people are going to have capital, look for places to invest, and a solid investment is real estate in a market where Park City is so close to Salt Lake City. It's so easy to get in and out of. We, as I lend nationwide, but then I compare it to Park City's market just is this steady, consistent. Right. It doesn't see the peaks and the valleys that we see in a lot of other places around the country. It's a really consistent, safe, safe investment.
Well, as they often say, you can't expect to have a better past. So waiting around at this point, it's only going to get more expensive and you lose that value in that investment that you could have if you do it right now.
Definitely, it's going to by waiting around, it's really going to cost you money. For example, looking at some numbers, I was working with some homeowners and we were debating on should they wait or should they buy. And they figured that by waiting, if they waited and rates crept up about 1%, 0.5% to 1%, that they would lose about $35,000 in buying power. And what I mean by that is we calculated their payment at a current rate, and if we use that same payment, okay, but we increase the rate a little bit, right, the amount that they could qualify to buy was reduced by about $30,000 to $35,000. And so just by waiting, they just lost that buying power. And so for them, why it may be a little bit inconvenient to drive around in the snow or,
that's right.
It was worth it for $35,000. They're like, we can't afford not to do this right now.
How do people get in touch with you if they want, if they're starting to think, hey, it makes sense. Oh, I'm looking at next year very, very carefully, and that starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do they need to do?
You can find our website at primaryresidentialmortgage.com. Okay. You can give me a call directly. Our office is down in Sugar House. Our local office is down in Sugar House. Its phone number there is 801-736-7736. And I would definitely recommend to just pick up the phone, give us a call. We can talk options.
So you start early. That's the whole point about this.
Exactly.
Even if you're thinking, I'm not going to do this for 3 months.
Yes.
Right now is when you want to talk about it.
Exactly. We want to get things in place. We want to make sure that you understand all the different mortgage options. There are actually quite a bit of different programs that are out there that are available for people, and what's right for each person is going to be a little bit unique.
And getting that credit run now and getting some of those things in place, especially when before you get to the end of the year numbers. Maybe your numbers weren't good this year. Maybe you want to use last year's numbers before somebody starts asking for a tax return.
Today could be a very important day, being the last day of the year. You maybe do some shuffling going on.
Indeed. Don Worthington, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you very
Primary Residential Mortgage right there. When we come back, we're going to be celebrating like the Irish for New Year's with some really good food. You don't want to miss that right after this.